Hey everyone, it's Jim with Ease. I'm here for another podcast. I have to laugh because the topic we're talking about, let's just say we're in Michigan right now. It's February. We just got hit with a pretty good sized snowstorm. So I think the last thing that's on people's mind, at least in this area, would be summer camp. But nonetheless, that is our topic for today. And we aren't just talking about a regular summer camp. We're going to talk today a little bit about camps for people with special needs. And I'm here with Lynn Seeloff from the Fowler Center. You are the camp director, correct?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the features and things like that and what to expect and just to learn a little bit more. Lynn, thanks for being with me today. I met you late last year during a conference, and I heard you kind of talk about the Fowler Center, and I thought, oh wow, that's awesome. I got to learn more. I've got to get you on the podcast and
Yeah,
talk
that's
a little
great.
bit about it. So, one thing we always do before we really get started is I always like to have people, introduce themselves, just talk a little bit about their background and how you ended up in your current role. I think it's pretty interesting. So.
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Lynn. I'm the camp director at the Fowler Center for Outdoor Learning, which is a program and service of Methodist Children's Home Society Family of Services, which is a Detroit-based nonprofit. So we serve individuals with disabilities, ages
Mhm.
6 and up, all around the year. I started here when I was in college.
Okay.
I volunteered one weekend for one of my classes. I went to Central Michigan University studying therapeutic recreation.
Okay.
And they're always, connecting you with organizations and agencies to gain fieldwork experience and hours. And so I came and volunteered one weekend. And it was actually the first weekend in 2004 that they used the high ropes course. It had been built, it's accessible. And so we actually used it that very first weekend that I was here, September 2004. So that was pretty cool that I was here that weekend. Um, and I just had a really great time and I wanted to volunteer more. And, the staff and the director at the time said, why don't you get a job here? Like,
Hmm.
we need staff. Come on back and work. So that's what I did. I started working the weekend respites when I was in college. And then I worked a couple summer camps before I started working full time when I graduated from Central.
Okay. So you kind of went through college and ended up there almost immediately.
Yeah, I did. And I've been here ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
neat. That's neat.
Mhm.
So could you just tell us a little bit more about the Fowler Center? I know you're talking a little bit about the history with me a little bit earlier, and I think as you're talking, you just let me know when I can share some pictures
Sure.
and bring it up. So,
Yeah. So, as I said, we are part of MCHS Family of Services as of last April. But prior to that, we were an independent nonprofit and we were started by John Jack Fowler. We called him Jack.
okay.
Jack grew up going to camp because his dad worked for the Y. And Jack also had cerebral palsy,
Okay.
not a cognitive impairment, just a physical impairment. He went to school, went to Olivet College, became a special education teacher. When he was growing up, he saw how great camp was for himself and for the other kids that he was around, how much it helped with self-esteem and fostering independence and just growing as an individual, developing those skills with others, living in a community and just learning about others. And not only was it great for all the kids and youth that he met, but he saw how great it was for somebody with a disability to get that experience also. So when he was a teacher, he wanted that same great experience for the kids in his classroom. He was
Hmm.
working for a private school in the Brighton area.
Okay.
And so he organized a 1 week camp experience in the school's field with like the kids in his class and their parents and the school's principal. And it just kind of snowballed into what we are today.
Okay.
After Brighton, we were at a property in Dryden, which is just south of Lapeer.
Okay.
And we were called Camp Happy Hollow. But we knew we could never purchase that property and we wanted our own home. So
Mhm.
that's when we found this property up in Mayville, which is north of Lapeer.
Okay.
And we've been here since the first camp summer here was 1977.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I have listeners from I think all over the world tuning in. So
Okay.
I know we're a little more familiar with the towns, but if you want to even explain a little bit more of the general area where you're located, and even maybe some of like the geological features there. I know you're
Sure.
on a lake and things like that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, we are 2 hours north of Detroit here in Mayville. Brighton is definitely about halfway down there, closer to the metro area. And then as you come up this way into, Michigan loves to say that they're from here and they point to their hand. So
yep.
we are in the thumb of Michigan. That's where Mayville is as you're getting into that thumb region. We're 2 hours north of Detroit, as I said, kind of a straight shot. We are on 200 acres.
Oh, wow.
Originally, we had just purchased about 100, and that included a lake so that we could do waterfront activities, and then lots of space for cabins and activities and sports and nature, campfires, a lot of the traditional camp things that you would think about.
Sure.
In the 90s, we saw a need to expand, and also there was an opportunity to purchase property across the road, which included a barn, which was
Okay.
great because we wanted a horse program.
Oh, nice.
So we purchased that property in the 90s and built a couple of more cabins, and um, we got the barn and pasture and started having horses here on site. So now that is actually part of our program as well is horseback riding.
Wow.
Throughout the 2000s, we were also able to write some grants and apply through foundations to get
Mhm.
a climbing wall, a high ropes course with zip line, and a tree house.
Wow.
Yeah, our treehouse was on Treehouse Masters a couple of years ago.
Oh, nice.
It aired in January 2017, I believe. And actually, we're just before that time as well, we also had a dig. They found a mastodon, some mastodon bones in the drain on our property, aligning our property. So that was pretty cool. That was with U of M Natural History Museum. Um, they found quite a bit, like 70% of the bones. So
No way. Wow,
yeah.
that's really neat. That's really
Yeah.
neat. So we have a few pictures here. I'm just gonna share the screen. Gonna look a little bit at the history.
Hmm. Oh, all right. So on the left there, that's Jack, the guy that's facing us, and that's
Okay.
his wife Rita, who was affectionately termed Ma Fowler. So Jack and Rita Fowler. We talk a lot about Jack and what he started,
Hmm.
but I'm sure we can all agree. I think Rita probably had a lot to do with it too.
Sure.
She's a lot of the reason that we have animals and the garden here. We have a raised bed garden, and she loved the animals and garden aspect. So it's Ma Fowler's barnyard for our small animals and garden area. So I know even if she was behind the scenes, I'm sure she had a lot to do with who we are today. So
Sure. Um, yeah, here's this Camp Hollow. You're talking about the
yeah,
sign
Camp
earlier
Happy
here.
Hollow. So that's actually the old entrance. I mean, that's the entrance to our camp. That's what it doesn't look like that anymore. um, there's a parking lot now, and
Mhm.
we still have on the left. We still have staff housing right there. You can see a mobile home, but there's definitely a staff lodge and a pavilion for picnicking, and just lots of some more structure built for housing and program development and stuff like that. But that's it, man. That's the
Uh,
entrance.
That's cool. So,
Here we are on the lake, enjoying some swim time. Waterfront is definitely, I think, a favorite of campers and staff in the hot summer.
sure.
They like to go. We do fishing, swimming, boating. We have a pontoon boat. Our dock has a ramp on it to get wheelchairs onto the boat, people in wheelchairs onto the boat, and then we also have some kayaks and canoes and rowboats.
Okay.
And we'll take anyone out on the lake that wants to go. We will do what we need to do to make it safe and get them in that get them in the boat to get out there.
Nice.
Oh, Camp Happy Hollow. I think we still have that sign right there. I think it's
Really.
hanging down in our in maintenance with some of our other old building signs. But yeah, that says Camp Happy Hollow, and that's a picture from Dryden. I'm sure I don't recognize that building. So
Okay.
yeah, some more swimming.
More lake time.
Yeah. Oh, tent camping. That's the basics of camp, right? That's kind
Mhm.
of what the tents would have looked like when they did it back in 1957. They camped in the school's field, like the old canvas army tents,
Yeah.
not quite
Yep.
the easy pop-up ones that we have that we
Oh,
have
I know.
today. Which honestly, I sometimes I think we should just go back to the old ones because they were probably indestructible. Because I swear, like the easy put together ones, those things break all the time, and it's
Yes,
probably one of the things we need to replace all the time,
I
most
agree.
frequently.
More rowing looks like here and
Yep.
boats.
Rowboats. Yep. Wheelbarrow. I can't do that, but some sports and games, campouts and eating
Picnics.
out.
Yeah.
Yep. Picnics. There's Jack on the right there. Obviously a colored picture here. So it's a not quite as old, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's Jack Fowler there in the blue pants on the
Mhm.
right hand side there. And we actually, that's one of our longtime campers in the very back in that kind of salmon pink shirt that's looking forward. He still comes to the respites
Oh,
all year
wow.
long. So
That's great.
yeah, I think this picture is probably like the 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
There's Jack and Rita. Um, that's the Dryden property, not here
Okay.
with one of the campers. So we have a rental group called Trails Edge Camp, and they are a camp for kids who are ventilator dependent. And they've been coming to our property and holding camp since 1990. So it's a very long-term relationship. It's the program is through affiliated with U of M Health System with CS Mott Children's Hospital.
Okay.
They come for the first full week of June every year. Unfortunately, because of COVID, they have not come the past 2 years, but they are really
Mm.
planning and hoping for this year that they're going to do it. So they are actually the ones who built the tree house that we have here at camp.
Oh,
And
wow. Okay.
before they built the tree house, they used to just do tree climbing out in kind of by the parking lot on the trees out there. And this is Jack getting to do some tree climbing there.
Nice. So back to the camp a little more. Can
Yeah.
you talk a little bit more about the programs, kind of what makes your camp unique? I remember one thing you had mentioned is that a lot of camps don't have many programs for adults, which I thought was kind of interesting too. So,
Yeah. So when you traditionally think of summer camp, you're thinking about kids, right?
mhm.
And we do have programs for children and youth, but because we serve individuals with disabilities, we know that there's that need for recreation and socialization well into their adulthood. And so we have programs for those who are above 18. Our youth programs go up to 26 because you can go to school until 26 in Michigan for special
Mhm,
education.
mhm.
But then our adult programs start around 18 or 21, depending on the session. So we kind of have that overlap. Um, the sessions definitely have a different feel. So if they're still in tune and driving with the youth sessions, they'll stay at those. But if they feel they've bridged over to adults, they'll join us for those. Um, and this is really the chance for the campers to come and see friends, get out of their home. It's their vacation.
Sure.
We do all sorts of activities here and they get to meet new people. And, you don't stop going on vacation when you're an adult. That's probably when you start going on more vacations.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
there's no reason they can't still come and enjoy being outside and being with friends and getting out of their home. And that's what we provide in a safe environment and somewhere that will support the needs that they have.
Okay. And how long do the sessions go for on average?
Yeah. So during the summer, we have sessions that are 1 or 2 weeks long.
Mhm.
During the school year, we have weekend sessions. So it's Friday and Saturday night. They come Friday evening and they leave Sunday early afternoon. And those are called respites. The point of them is to give families a break. They care for their loved one 24/7. Sometimes they don't even get a full night's sleep, um,
Mhm.
for many, many weeks. And so they can send them here, know they're cared for. The campers get to be independent from their parents as well. When
Okay.
I was a kid, I didn't want to hang out with my parents all the time. I think everyone wants that independence and to show that they can be on their own. So that's
Mhm.
what we provide. And it's also good for the campers to know that there's going to be someone else that can take care of them and provide for them.
Okay.
A lot of families with people who have disabilities, They end up staying in the family home a lot longer, but there's going to come a time when their parents can't care for them anymore and they
Sure.
need to know and be comfortable with other people helping them.
For sure. So I know we've talked a lot about summer camp, but from what I understand, Fowler Center offers programs all year round. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we have those respites that I talked about that run September through May.
Mhm.
We also have some seasonal camps like over Labor Day weekend, in the springtime, and at winter between Christmas and New Year. We have a program called Travel Adventures, and that's where we take weekend or week long trips around the country, within the state, but then also around the country, just to give campers, a chance to travel and see other parts of the state, other parts of the country,
Mhm.
experience different things in their life. Um, we have been, to Texas, Disney, canoeing in the Everglades, Catalina Island.
Wow.
Um, we went to Bryson City, North Carolina, fall 2019, and we actually did some rafting, like whitewater rafting. It's a really good time. We actually, because of COVID, we haven't been doing traveling, but we're starting our first one in April. So we're going to Cincinnati. We're gonna have some, 5-way chili and go on a dinner train and see some sights down there. So
Awesome. So how does the process work if somebody is looking to either themselves attend camp or have a family member come and stay for a bit? Like where do they start? And how does that whole process work?
yeah, so definitely they can check out our website. All of our programs and our fees and the dates are listed on there.
Mhm.
As far as funding, about half of our campers, a little more than half, work with their supports coordinators and their local community mental health agency to use their respite dollars at camp. We hold
Okay.
contracts with different counties around the state, and we are able to accept Medicaid funds for respite.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so, about over the course of the year, about half of our campers will do that. The other half are self pay, but if they need assistance in getting to camp, we have camperships that are available to assist them in funding. There's also local service clubs that they can look for in their own community that love to help people and send them to camp, such as like Kiwanis or churches, Circle K, stuff like that.
Okay.
So once they figure out what session they want to come to, then they can actually register online.
Hmm.
If for some reason they don't have the internet or don't have the ability, we do have paper registrations
Okay.
that they can ask for. They just call and ask for us to mail that to them. But the easiest way is online, and that's the quickest way to ensure you get the session you want. A lot of our adult sessions have a lot of returning
Mhm.
campers that have been coming for years, and so those are definitely the ones that fill up the quickest, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I was just gonna ask how quickly some of these programs fill up. Is it one of those things where they should be trying to register early as soon as possible, or how fast does it normally fill up?
Yeah, so I would say to this date, so we started the day before Thanksgiving. That's kind of typically around the time that we start, the end of November, with
Okay.
registration for the next summer. And definitely the adult sessions fill up quicker than the youth. I think our youth
Mhm.
sessions are in August, and I think parents are at school and therapy and have all this stuff going on. They're not really
Yeah.
thinking about summer the prior Christmas. So those we'll see registrations increase here coming in these next few months. Um, but I would say definitely by March, some of
Okay.
the adult sessions are filled to
Okay.
capacity. So
And how far are people coming to attend?
Um, we have a lot of campers from the Metro Detroit area, Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, but we also have campers from northern Michigan, up around the Traverse City,
Mhm.
Petoskey area. We have campers from the west side of the state, down by Indiana. We actually have some international campers from just across the bridge
Okay.
in Canada. And last year we had somebody travel from Georgia.
Wow, that's a distance.
Mhm. Yeah, he actually, there because we do serve adults,
Sure.
there's not always the programs for adults. I think
Yeah.
we don't get a lot of out of state people, but we do get a few who are looking and say, I can't find anything like this. And so they're willing to, it's
Yeah.
vacation for them, for their loved one. And so they want them to have that opportunity. And so they're willing to make the drive or the flight.
Yeah, that's such a good point because when I do think of camp, I usually just think of kids. So Um, it probably is. There's probably very few out there that have adult programs. So
Yeah, exactly. And, I think there's a lot of community adult day programs and workshops, but not really something that they can go away for the week and get to do. We have a lot of different activities,
mhm,
especially with our horseback riding and our high adventure that's accessible. I think that's really one of the things that kind of sets us apart from other
sure.
programs. Um, and kind of, we're definitely really blessed in that way, and that we have so much that we're able to offer individuals. And actually, one of the camps that we have that you wouldn't see a ton at other places is our Camp Barefoot, which we met at a neuro rehab,
Hmm.
uh, the kind of fair for that. But Camp Barefoot is specifically for adults with brain injuries, and we
Okay.
hold that at the end of May over Labor Day weekend. That week, we hold that every year, and so that's been happening since 1992. And that's just a great week for those with traumatic brain injuries to kind of come together. They get to do activities, but I think the biggest thing to them is that socializing with others and that shared experience and shared life experience. Uh,
Absolutely.
they all had this traumatic event in their life, and they can kind of their life change. Um, and they get to just talk to others who have had similar experiences and how they're dealing with it and what's going on in their life, and they form friendships that they keep on with outside of camp, and they come back and see each other year after year. So it's a really
Sure.
great week for them as well.
Sure. So I know you've touched on it just briefly, but can you talk a little bit more about some of the accommodations that you do make and even some of the supervision, just, how you guys are able to make sure everybody can
Yeah.
participate equally and things like that?
Yeah. So first, I'll talk about kind of our staffing and supervision.
Okay.
So we are licensed by the state of Michigan as a children's camp and an adult foster care camp, and
Mhm.
we are accredited by the American Camp Association. And
Okay.
so those two things is kind of where we get all of our guidelines and policies for our program quality and safety.
Okay.
We maintain a 1-to-3 staff to camper ratio. We do offer a limited number of spots for those who need a one-on-one for behavioral or medical reasons.
Okay.
Um, but all of our staff are trained to do personal care. So that would be toileting, showering, dressing,
Hmm.
feeding, all of that. A lot of the staff that we hire are college age students from 18 to 24 that are going into special education, recreation, therapies, PTOT, social work, any of those human service fields, nursing, anything that this would kind of be a great experience for their future career. Or they might know a family member or friend who has a disability, and they just really love
Yeah.
serving individuals in this respect. So that, and then during orientation and training, we do the first aid, CPR, behavior management, how to do direct care, how to do transfers, how to
Mhm.
supervise campers, how to facilitate all the activities at camp. As far as activities go, our high ropes course and our treehouse and our climbing wall, we're going to use a system of pulleys
Mhm.
and a Hoyer sling, which
Okay.
is something that you use to transfer people. And that's what kind of allows us to lift people up in the treehouse, get them up on the climbing wall. As far as going around the high ropes course, and I think I sent you a picture of the high ropes course so you could see it.
Yeah.
We actually Everyone's always got their safety lines on, just like anyone would be, but they're actually in a manual wheelchair that fits on the course, and we use
Okay.
a pulley system to kind of get it around. Um, as far as horseback riding, our instructor is trained through Certified Horsemanship Association to work with people with disabilities, and she's currently pursuing her PATH certification, and that's kind of I would say, as far as serving individuals with disabilities and horseback riding, that's kind of one of the kind of main larger certifications that's out there for horseback riding and therapeutic horsemanship.
Okay. So talk a little bit about what a typical day looks like for the camper.
Yeah, so we get up around 7:30 to get ready for breakfast, and we eat breakfast at 8:30. We
Okay.
serve family style, so we all sit down together. Our cabin group sit down together. A cabin group nowadays is about 12 campers and 4 staff. There might be a few extra staff depending on who's in your cabin and what kind of care there is. But you sit down together for a family meal. And so, you have the bowl of mashed potatoes and you have the plate of meat and, you pass it around.
Yeah,
We also, of course, we take every opportunity we can to kind of work on life skills because we know that's definitely something in our
yeah,
population that they're working on at home. So as far as manners and passing things and just when you're together and conversation at the table and stuff like that. We
sure.
all help clean up our after the meal, and then we kind of have some time to tidy our cabins, put our sunscreen on, go to the bathroom, wash up, and then we meet at the flagpole to raise the flag and sing a few songs and have announcements for the day. And then we go our separate ways to different activities. The office, our program director does a great job of making us a fun schedule for the day and the week.
Hmm.
And our program staff are the ones who actually like run crafts, the lifeguards at the waterfront, the people out on the ropes course getting the campers around. Um, we have activities until lunchtime and then a little rest after lunch where they can take a nap or they can write home or they can hang out with each other. Then we do some more activities in the afternoon until it's dinner. After dinner, we clean up a little and then we'll have evening program, which could be like superhero night or hayride ice cream social or like a fear factor night, some kind of themed fun all camp evening program. And then around 8:30, we meet at the flagpole again to sing some quieter songs, retire the flag, and then go our separate ways to the cabins to get ready for bed.
Oh, nice. So it's pretty structured then.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And I was gonna ask you, sounds like you said it is kind of there are goals at least that you can identify to help address certain needs. I know you said you're a recreational therapist, so I'm sure
Mhm.
that kind of ties into it a little bit as well.
Yeah. So for those who are funded, they have goals written into their individual plan of service.
Okay.
Most of them have a goal that is about giving the family a break and respite. So that's easily met by coming to camp.
Okay.
They might sometimes have a few other like health and wellness or socialization goals. And so we will keep activity logs and write to those goals from their plan of service. But overall, on the camp as a whole, we really are focusing and trying to get individuals to be as independent as possible, form those relationships with each other,
Hmm.
and just be in those social situations um, where they can increase their skills, kind of in a natural way. Being at camp and living in a community, you can't be thinking about yourself all the time. You have to be thinking
Sure.
about the other people. You all have to share the same space. You all have to help take care of the space together, um, and you have to learn how to be and live with others, and also you're here at camp independent from your family, so
Sure.
you're learning how to do things on your own and that it's okay to be away from your family. You're kind of learning those skills of growing up.
Yeah.
um, and then as far as just being active at camp, of course, a lot of people end up sitting at home all the time, and so being active and being outside at camp and breathing fresh air and just getting a chance for that physical activity that people might not see, especially these days. The past 2 years have been rough for people. So
Oh yeah.
just getting outside and
Fresh
being
air and
active, it's so good for
socializing.
your mental well-being too. Like your physical activity and what you do is affects you a lot in your mental well-being. So
Absolutely. I think this is a good time to I'll do another share screen here. Your-
yeah, so there's Jack.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, this is within my time. It's after 2000. This must be between 2007 and 2010 because in
Okay.
2010 that's when we replaced that red board.
Oh.
um, but that's Jack and one of our longtime campers, Tony. And he, of course, everyone knows, loves U of M. Don't talk about state, man. And that's my favorite tree in their background. It's actually a catalpa tree, and it
Okay.
only blooms in like May-ish, May, June. And that's it, like that one time a year. So that's like my favorite time of year to see the catalpa tree. It's so beautiful. It's huge and tall, and I just love it.
Oh wow. Yeah, that is pretty. Let's see. Oh, here's the course you're talking
There's the
about.
high ropes course. This is my favorite high ropes course picture because there's a lot going on here that if you just glanced at it, you might not know. Okay,
Yeah.
so up in the right-hand corner at the very top, we have
Hmm.
this is during Camp Barefoot, that camp for adults with brain injuries.
Okay.
So we have Phil right there who uses a wheelchair, and He feeds himself. He can move his hand and feeds himself, but he needs all other care. And so he needed help getting around the course in the wheelchair. So we have our facilitators up there with him. That's Kate and Tom. And then the next level down, you see a pink shirt, and that is Leslie, and she is one of our staff, and she's kind of with, that's Tony again, walking across the course. He's independent. We just make sure he's safe when he's at camp, but he can do all his own stuff. So he's walking across the course there with Leslie. And then on the last lower part here, kind of going across those wires, we have a camper, Matt, and that's actually his chair, his power chair at the very bottom lower level.
Yeah, I
But
noticed that.
he likes to walk around the course. So he uses that chair to get around long distances, but he really likes to walk around the course because he can, and he wants to do it. He's super tired at the end. He needs a Gatorade. He's expended a lot of energy because it is a lot to get around the course for him, but he wants to do that. And so we help him. There's Justin, who's right behind him, making sure he's actually pulling himself across on that trolley. That trolley, we normally would take a ratchet strap and attach the wheelchair to it to get them across. But he's just sitting on the trolley, and he's using that rope to pull himself across. So he's doing as much as he possibly can with the help of the staff to get himself around. So I really enjoy that picture because it's kind of like all levels. We have a camper at the top who needs a lot of assistance getting around. We have a camper in the middle who's just walking around it on his own. And then we have someone who kind of is that moderate in between. And so I really think it just showcases everything about camp.
Absolutely.
Then we have some archery. That's our program director, Lilia, right there, who's our archery instructor, or was this past year. We all our administrators kind of pulled double duty this year because just like everyone else, staffing is short. And it has been for a couple of years. So we're really hoping, we're trying hard to recruit. But that's Lilia. She did all our archery last year, as well as she did some of the high ropes and treehouse, and then also the lifeguarding. So she's the one who kind of sets up all our schedules and works with the program team to implement them. And so she's doing some archery there. For campers who can, they will, pull back the bow. But for those who can't, Lilia will assist them. Or we also have kind of an adapted one that one of my interns made. We just kind of used some clips and we set a bow. It kind of looks like a crossbow. It's like a homemade crossbow, if you will.
Sure.
Sports and rec, parachute. We got some cardio drumming balls and stuff. You can see campers love music and rhythm, so we do lots of that kind of stuff. And there we have horseback riding. So that horse, that's Picasso. He's a fan favorite. He's such a good horse. And that's our camper up there. And the interesting story about this is we're so excited about this picture. That's Michael, and he's been coming to camp for a while, but it's really hard to get him to do activities. It just takes a while for him to get to know you and trust you and work with you, which is not uncommon. That's part of camp, is building relationships. Our staff work really hard to, our staff have to do a lot of personal care, and that's getting in people's bubbles, and they need to trust you in order for you to take care of them. So it's definitely something that our staff are used to working on. And so it just kind of took Michael a little bit longer to open up. But this year we got him on a horse, and we got him in the kayak, and he was on the bike going around camp, and we were so excited because it's taken a few years, but there he is, and he's smiling. We shared the pictures with his mother, and she was so excited and couldn't wait to tell everyone. So yeah, the power of camp. Oh, and there we have one of our chickens, a little therapy chicken there. Some of the chickens do really great just sitting on the campers' laps and letting them pet them. The campers really enjoy the animals. That's our tree house. It was designed by students of architecture and engineering at U of M, students and professors. And then it was built by the volunteers of Trails Edge Camp. So
very nice.
Yeah. They said, hey, can we build a treehouse on your property and we use it our 1 week and you can use it the rest of the time? And we said,
sure.
Yeah, sure. That sounds
Come
great.
on over.
Go ahead. They're a great, they've been great partners, since 1990. I mean, they see
Hmm.
this as their home. So they recently, a couple years ago, fundraised and got a new dock for the waterfront. We're working on some other projects right now from some program funding they've received. And so they really understand the value of camp. It's very important to their program that they have. And they've been
Absolutely.
coming here since 1990. So this is their home too.
Sure.
This is Sylvie. She's climbing our treehouse, and so she needs a little bit of assistance. So we have the pulley on her, but not the Hoyer. She doesn't need the Hoyer. We don't need to lift her up.
Hmm.
She just needs some help climbing that rope ladder. So the pulley kind of we can help her climb up, but she can still do as much as possible. Oh, and there we have some more horse photos. It's definitely a huge part of the program is just interacting with the animals. Even if they don't ride them, or if their doctor said no, and or their parents are uncomfortable with it and they can't ride them, they still interact with them. They can brush, feed them treats, groom them, all sorts of stuff.
Awesome. So besides the horse and the chickens, what else do you have?
So we have a mini mule, a mini horse, a Shetland pony, 4 goats, 2 pigs, and 7 chickens,
Oh, wow.
and a partridge in a pear tree.
Partridge in a pear tree.
Yeah,
I'm taking
yeah,
this
for
as the
sure.
lake.
Yeah, here's the lake. There's kind of like an overlook. In this overlook area, there's actually a campfire pit to the right. And
Hmm.
this is one of the favored campsites for like campouts. We do them one night a week. Um, they also will do like cooking during the day on the campfire to like make a snack. There's actually a hammock pod out of the frame of the picture that you can't see. So we have hammocks that we put up that the campers get a chance to hang out in.
Nice.
Um, Back in the day, like this is the back in the day part of camp. So this is our rustic platform tent area. There's 2 of them. So we have 7 tents total. That's a platform tent. So there's a large 14 by 16 wood platform that you put the beds on. Like it's kind of like more than a cot, but not quite a bed. It's metal
Hmm.
frames and then mattresses. So they don't sleep on the ground. They actually sleep in beds, but
Okay.
they're under a canvas tent. And so this is like, I think Jack would always come look at the outpost area when he was alive. He passed away in 2012 at 91. So he lived a really long life.
Wow.
He would come up to camp. He would want a golf cart and he would just want to drive around camp. And then he would come tell us like what need fixed and stuff and what we needed to do. But he always checked out the outpost. This was kind of what he started with. This, camp was rustic. Camp wasn't horses and high ropes courses back in 1957. As awesome as that is, camp was camping in tents and being in nature and cooking around a campfire and all those basic things. So this was really important to him because this is where camp started. So the outpost started in the 90s. And we have platform tents. We have a well, like a well that you pump to get the water. There's no electricity. There's porta johns for the bathroom. This is where I spent my first summer at camp. I loved it. I thought it was great. It's a lot quieter. It's a smaller group. Like you're kind of set away from main camp. So it's definitely, it's just a different feeling. And because you have to, you participate in even more so in community life out there. You have to refill the igloo with the water from the well pump. You need to refill the water in the hand washing station. You need to help make dinner. You need to wash the dishes. You need to clean up and take care of your tent. You need to take out the trash at the end of the day because the raccoons will get into it. So it's definitely, campers tend to be higher functioning. They need to be more independent in their care because there aren't bathrooms so close by. But they do a lot more of those life skill things out there. In 2014, in our second platform tent area, we started a program called Life Treks, and it's for individuals on the autism spectrum, and it teaches those social skills, transitional living skills, vocational skills. Sports. I just love that picture of them playing.
Yeah.
So this is kayaking on our lake. So there's a couple of our campers with a couple of our volunteers. One of them, the one in the very back, the volunteer that you can see really well, that's Cameron. And she actually came as a volunteer with her TR program at Central. And then she ended up coming back and now works for us on the weekends. And she worked a couple of weeks this summer.
Okay.
So she's really taken a liking to the campers and doing activities with them. Both of them in the back, Cameron and Katie, they are both rec therapy students from Central. So they're definitely like the accessible activities. And this is a
Hmm.
great chance for them to learn how to adapt things for individuals. And so,
Sure.
yeah.
Fishing.
Fishing, yep. It's all catch and release, but well, I mean, we've caught some whoppers. There's lots of different stuff that you can catch, but yeah, fishing at camp, that's definitely a favorite pastime, some of the
Sure.
campers.
I think that's about it. So, Lynn, this was great. Um,
Yeah.
I guess in closing, do you have any advice for people who are listening today again who are potentially interested in trying to find a camp?
When choosing a camp, I think it's important to kind of research and know what you're looking for. What kind of
Hmm.
experience do you want your campers to have? Um, Definitely check out the website. If you have questions, we love sharing camp. If you want to come up for a tour, if you want to see what's going on, we always have an open house before summer where new families can come and tour around, meet some of the staff and talk to them. I think for newer families and younger kids, it's definitely harder if they've never been anywhere before.
Hmm.
We've seen it a lot, and they're definitely never alone. Like they're not the only parent that is worried. They're not the only parent who has never left their loved one before. So I think a lot of parents apologize. Like, I'm sorry, I keep asking questions. I'm sorry, I keep calling. I'm sorry, I've never been without them. Like I don't know what to do. It's
Hmm.
okay. You don't need to apologize. We work with lots of families and lots of kids and lots of different situations. So we're used to it and we're here for you. Ask us questions and, we want you to be comfortable.
Sure.
Um, I'm it's gonna be hard the first time you leave them for sure, but
Hmm.
that's what we're here for and that's what we're training the staff for. So
Awesome. Well, Lynn, thanks again. And we will go ahead and post links to this video to the
great.
camp. If they want to get in contact with you, we can probably leave your email and web address as well. So
Perfect. Perfect.
awesome. Well, thanks again. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
Of course.
Bye.
Thanks so much. Have a good day.